The Lincoln's Legends podcast is proudly brought to you by two amazing sponsors that are local businesses from right here in Springfield. MilesT-shirts.com, top-notch printing at a great price, and Laces Footwear. Why buy kicks and threads at separate places when the freshest gear is all at Laces. LacesFootwear.com. Lincoln's Legends podcast. I'm very, very excited and honored. Part of the show, being a Lincoln Legends podcast, is interviewing people that I think have a huge impact and influence on this city, and I'm fortunate enough to sit across from one of them, and Bodine Lytle. I don't know what else to say.
I don't know what positive influence I had on the city, but sure, welcome to the LLP.
No. There's a hole in the heart of the listener that doesn't get to hear you on a weekly or daily basis, and I don't know if you, I want to say you've never brought it up and saying I'm this, I'm that, but you have this huge impact on people, and they get to know you, and it's not just as some, oh, well, I listened to this guy and he has this show. It's that they're friends with you because you're in their lives every single day for the time that you're there. And like I said, it's a hole in the heart of the city, and I wanted for you to be able to just to say, hey, still here, this is what I'm doing, and it fills my heart to be able to sit down with you and have an opportunity for you to be heard again.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think a lot of people still hear me because go to the store, if you listen loud enough, you'll hear me either A, talking or laughing, or you hear my kids hooting hollering in the background. One to two. So I'm more interested on the fact of what made you start this. This is pretty cool, by the way. I love the website. I love the logo. The logo is awesome.
Thank you.
Lincoln in that way is awesome.
For me, it took about 8 months to get the logo idea down pat because I thought of the name. I'm like, okay, well, we can't avoid the fact that everything here in our hometown is Lincoln.
Lincoln.
However, if Lincoln were alive and had a platform and he could speak to people, who would he talk to? Who would he hang out with? And my idea of the logo is that you would sit down with that guy and have a beer with him. Because I hate to make anything political, but they say that the man that's going to win the race is the guy that you'd sit down and have a beer with at the end of the day. He's the guy that you can go up and talk to. So I put a lot of thought into how it looks.
How's Obama's rating? Because a lot of people sat down and had a beer with him. Just
you know what,
I'm
though?
not political.
Chris Rock made an amazing meme. However, Chris Rock, he said only a black guy could lower gas under $2 a gallon, end two wars, kill Bin Laden, and still be accused of doing a shitty job. So I'm not gonna.
I'm not big in politics.
I can't be. I can't afford to be. No.
I'm not big at it. I just love throwing out jokes. So,
I will.
Hey, don't hold it against me. But hold on a minute.
I will treat it this way. I used to serve tables and bartend, and I was really lucky to hang out with some awesome people. And my idea of politics were the same then as they are right now. Who's your favorite team? Because you're putting money in my pockets. We don't talk about Cubs, Cardinals, religion, or politics in that position because you can lose your whole livelihood over one thing that you say. So I can't afford to be political.
I don't blame you. By the way, any hate email, send it over. Not to me, but over to the other end, to the boss, the man.
I am not the boss of anybody.
Yeah.
I am
you
not.
Send it over to Jeremy. What's your email again?
It's Lincoln's Legends Podcast at gmail.com.
There you go. Send it there.
So we are at the Shamrock. I mentioned it before. I let the guests pick anywhere that they want to go. And this is, in the politest, homey way, it's a hole in the wall and it's cozy. And I'm glad that we got to come here. Because, to be honest, if we went to like Buffalo Wild Wings or if we go to, any bar or sports bar, we're not going to get to have this conversation.
No,
because you've influenced so many people in the city that they're going to run up and smile and they're going to hang out with you, which is amazing. But it's very hard to get a one-on-one interview with. You just got to find the right venue. So I'm glad that you picked this one. I really am.
I like coming to places like this. They're small, they're relaxing. You can sit back and watch the show happen. The people be themselves. It's a place to relax and unwind, and run into some good people, have some good conversations.
Absolutely.
They got free chili.
They have free chili?
It looks free.
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say.
It's at a free table.
I think it would be best to leave a tip or buy something.
I would say if you walk up to it, act like you've been there once or twice, you'll be okay. That's the key to everything. Act like you know it, whether you do or don't.
All right, so tell me, there's so many questions that I have. If I can, I want to just open up the floor and say, what got you going into radio?
Mr. Raymond, he went to college for radio.
Yeah.
And during his college radio, I went to visit him once. He asked me to come up once to visit him. So I show up, and out of the blue, he had these guys grab me and blindfold me, drag me out of the studio. And they tied my feet up to a tree and my hands to a car.
Oh my gosh.
And started the car. Now, I'm glad they don't know how to tie knots, and I'm glad they understood what a slip knot was. And it's not the band at the time. And so when they went to drive off the car, I'm thinking this is going to hurt, and I am good as dead. And so he gunned the car, and it was a slip knot, and I just dropped to the floor. And doing that stunt, watching the reaction of the people that showed up there, and hearing the phone calls that came in, and this is just a small local
This is college radio.
Yeah, in Southern Illinois.
What year was this? And sorry to date it, but
I couldn't begin to tell you the date.
How old were you? How's that?
Don't know that.
High school?
We don't talk about the age.
No, because I'm trying to get because
it would have to be early 80s. It would have to be in the 80s because of the time we showed up here. My brother's been doing it for several years.
That's the reason why I asked for the timestamp, because I would love to chronologically go say, hey, this thing happened, real early, and that was a spark, and then it led to certain things.
Well, it happened in the 80s. It would have to happen. The mid 80s, maybe.
Okay.
It would have to be. And I probably was high school, probably freshman in high school. So it's harder for me to date because I don't.
No. I'm just asking
Time is. Yeah, it's important to have a date because you need to show up here at this time. You need to be here at this time. But as far as I'm concerned, a day is a day.
Okay.
And it is what it is.
Okay. All right. I respect that. The only reason why is because I have this big drawn out picture of a timeline of like how you got started and just so sorry to stutter, but so you're say a freshman in high school, and how far is Mr. Raymond in his education? Like, is he halfway through his college? Is he getting done?
He would be almost done with this college.
Okay.
And he would be doing internship at YMG at the time.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you an idea, especially with the listeners knowing they've heard Mr. Raymond on YMG.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this ain't the first time he was in. All
right. Yeah. No. Absolutely.
So that kind of gives you an idea. Also gives you an idea. YMG, when it used to be way over on the west end of Springfield.
Where was it at that time?
It was near the Long John Silver's, out on Washington.
Long John, I think.
Where the A&W is right near the gas station. I can't think of that clock tower area.
Okay, that's where YMG was?
Yeah, YMG is. Well, actually, I think before that, it was farther out when Mr. Raymond was there. I think that was the second run of their area.
So you visit Mr. Raymond in college, and he essentially puts you in your first stunt.
Yeah, unknowingly.
And then after that,
I just started doing whatever I always did. I mean, I'm in high school, jacking around this, that, and the other thing. But I always loved radio, and I always, went to visit my brother when he was in Corpus Christi. I visited him, and hung out and did stuff with him. He'd call me on a regular basis at different stations, whether he was in Ohio or New York or wherever he was. He'd always call me, and I'd always do stuff for him on the air. And I always loved that. I always loved the concept of being able to play a character, and it's not so much a character because it's a way of life. It's who you are. And so you get to play this person and do things that you normally wouldn't get to do. And I'm not saying you're a total different person.
No, but you get to tap into an awesome part of creativity, maybe?
Well, creativity, yeah, but you can also just be a kid again, I guess.
Okay.
In radio, you're allowed to be this kid that you used to be, I should say, not a character so much. As a kid, you get to be this person that gets to test the boundaries of the lines of yay and nay.
All right.
You know, you get to push people to a point of them saying, okay, here's the story. You know what I mean?
Can you tell me about an early stunt? You just talked about I don't call it a rope swing, but the slip knot. The slip knot, okay. What was your next stunt that really just kind of sparked your interest? Like, I want to keep doing this. Like, no matter what part of it I can do, please let me know and I'll help you out. Like, what was your next?
It wasn't a stunt. It was a bit. It was Mr. Raymond called me, and he was in, I want to say, Ohio. I think he was, and he had me sing a song. I can't think of what the song was based on. It was that old truck song. That woman pulls up next to me in a flatbed Ford.
Okay.
You know, she slowed down to look at me. That song. I got 3 women on my mind or whatever.
Okay. Eagles. Yeah.
Yes, Eagles.
Taking it easy.
Yes, taking it easy.
Okay.
Great song. And so we're doing a play off of that. Now he knows I can't sing.
Yeah.
I can't play an instrument. Save my life. And so he had me do a song like that. And I got to be me. I got to be who I am. I got to sing. And I gave it my all at that point.
Yeah.
But I knew it was going to suck because I can't sing. But I still stood up to the plate.
Yeah.
I still swung that bat. Mighty Casey, I may have struck out.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't. I realized that me by being me and doing this, it had a great response. I mean, people loved it. They called him about it. They talked to him about it. And they wanted to know who this person was. And they accepted it. And for me, that was like, wow, that's cool. Because I could be who I am. And I may not be perfect at it, but they may find it funny. They may find it interesting. And I started thinking about the creativity behind that of, oh my gosh, you could take that song and you could word it with a poem and make it freaking hilarious.
Absolutely.
And people really enjoyed it. And even if they didn't enjoy it and they found it ridiculously stupid, they would still call you on it. But you had their attention for them to stop their day.
I agree.
To respond.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, to me, that was like the aha moment of, this would be cool to do.
Okay.
This job would be awesome to do, that I could play around and talk to people, meet people, and get responses. Whether they're positive or negative, they're a response. And they're all important responses.
Right.
Because if you get a negative response on a bit, then you know you need to tweak it somewhere. Once you do that, you're educating yourself. You're teaching yourself how to make something funny that a general audience, a large amount of the general audience will get. Now, you may not be able to please the whole room,
right?
But you can please about 70% of that
Absolutely,
room.
yeah.
And that's what your goal
well,
is.
the other 30% are just pissed off because they didn't think of it or they're having a really shitty
or
day.
They're just jealous.
So,
and
absolutely,
they wish that
yeah.
they could be in your spot.
Absolutely.
To face everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, so, I mean, everything goes different directions. But to realize that and to do that, I was always thinking I wanted to do that. But then I started just jacking around, going a different direction, and just said, just a pipe dream. And so when I got to hang out with Mr. Raymond and move in with him,
I have a question before we do that. I just want to ask. You said that you finally found and you were comfortable with what I would call Bodine, because I didn't know you before your persona. Well, I'm saying this larger than life, full of energy. That's what I was trying to ask. Were you ever quiet as a kid? Were you always this outgoing?
Always outgoing, always jacking around, always doing stupid stunts. I jumped off a 2-story roof from my brother Robert with a parachute in hand, and it didn't work, needless to say.
Oh my God!
It hurt
Okay.
like a son of a gun when I hit the ground.
Oh, you can say bitch because it's not edited.
Well, it hurt. It hurt like a son of a bitch. But then I've been blasted between the eyes with an arrow by my brother Robert.
Oh God!
Shattered my bridge. I mean, we've done stupid stuff. So I've always done stupid stunts. I've always done crazy things. Always been loud and always been out there. Sense of humor-wise and everything. My name Bodine, it's been around since 8th grade. maybe 7th grade, for my brother, Mr. Raymond, who came home from college one time. For reference to me as Bodine, and it stuck.
That's awesome.
So I've always been that person.
Okay.
But never thought about fully getting into radio. Always wanted to.
Right.
And I always had that itch in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'll try other things. I'll go somewhere else and see what I can do. And found, no job was pleasing that itch. You got this itch and you want to do it.
Absolutely.
So no job is satisfying.
Oh, no, not at all.
So
I totally agree. I completely understand.
Mr. Raymond to move to Springfield, I moved in with him and started with the radio station QLZ. I started there as an intern. I think you know the term.
I am very familiar.
Slave.
I'm very familiar with
Slave.
this. I'm very, very familiar.
But people don't understand, though. You're willing to be that slave. You're
Absolutely.
willing to put yourself into that position because you're going to get your foot in the door, or at least get yourself a reference. And that's important because anybody could go to college for radio.
Absolutely.
But get yourself into a position where, for me, for example, I never went to college for radio. I never had any formal education. The only formal education I had was, hey, we're in the field. Grab this rifle per se and just shoot.
That's amazing.
That's it. That's the only.
But that's the best because you find out what sticks, and that circles back to the conversation that we just had about approaching people, and not approaching people, but showing them your art. And when they critique it, and you listen to them, and you tweak it just to make it better, what's the difference between your education and the education that someone would receive in improv? Yeah. You're learning on the fly, just as you said. The intern phrase and free, we've all been through it, and what I want to point out is money can't buy that type of education.
No, it can't. It proves two things. It shows that, one is your willingness to learn this craft, your willingness to work at this craft that you have a love and a passion for, and you're doing it for free.
Absolutely.
But it's also showing the boss, who's always looking at you, thinking, well, one is, I got the sucker on the line, but two is, he wants to see if you actually do have that passion.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to put up with some of the stuff that you're willing to go through, the hours that you're willing to put in for free.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The things they're asking you to do. And it's, a lot of it could be setting up remotes. A lot of it could be just dealing with, like I did, mowing the lawn, washing vehicles, setting up banners, and cleaning the garage. And, I've done it all at that radio station. I've cleaned bathrooms. But that's how you start. And then eventually the bosses start looking at you and saying, hey, I know you've been paying attention. Sit with this jock on the overnight a couple times. Learn the board. And then you start doing it, and then he's like, look, hey, we need you to run the board. It's the state fair.
Right.
Or, hey, this person can't show up, so we need you to run the board. And you start running the board. Yeah. And then pretty soon, you start picking up on this stuff.
Absolutely.
You're picking up on the language. You're picking up on what these controls do. You're learning how to run CDs, because that's the time when I came in. Records started phasing
I'm
out.
sorry, a what?
Yes.
What was it?
Oh, what? A CD.
Not an MP3.
Actually, not an MP3. We actually physically touched CDs. We loaded, it was supposed to be 3 CD decks, but half the times one wasn't working.
Oh, no.
So you're loading 2 at a time. You're pulling some music from a rack so many hours ahead of time, and then you're putting stuff away, and then you still got to come up with ways to find a story. By the way, internet was a new thing. So it wasn't like we could randomly go to Yahoo or Fark.com or any of these websites that's out there for you.
I'm gonna burst a bubble, and I'm not afraid to do it. It's my show, and fuck off if you didn't know this. By the way, Lou Brutus sits down and he reads a script. There are people that play music for him. That's not how it is for people coming up in the business that want a show more than life itself.
Now,
how do you start it?
Normally, let me just, it's not correcting you, it's not slamming on. It's, Lou Brutus's show is a little different than a jock that you would hear on a night-to-night basis. Lou Brutus is a produced show. So it's a show that's produced that can be played
syndicated?
Around. Syndicated, yes, around, all over, syndicated. So when that happens, you usually get a music producer. You hire this person to play music, and sometimes you hire multiple, because in Central Illinois, their music is different than on the East Coast or the West Coast.
Why is that?
It's people preference. It's the type.
Is it a census? How do they get the preference?
Again, it's it's done through census. It's done through the radio station getting the phone calls. It's done through surveys.
Okay.
And
all right.
it's some bands prefer to release their stuff on a certain coast.
Well,
it's weird how it works.
I'm not knocking him by any stretch of the imagination.
I know, but I'm just saying.
No, absolutely.
The difference between that and what I've done and what you have done, we have to, especially when I started, I had a select music to play. They gave me a music log, and it was a piece of paper, and I had to look on it, pull the music, and play it, and check on it. Commercials we had to load through a computer, yes, but I also had to play reel-to-reel. I had carts, which are like 8 tracks.
Tell me about the reel-to-reel.
And that reel, man, that's a pain in the ass.
Did you load it? Tell me. I want to hear. Come on. Tell me about it. Did you have to cut it and splice it?
Oh yeah, and there's times where when you record the radios, the callers that call in when I first started was on a reel-to-reel. So you get this awesome call. You got 5 seconds, man. You gotta put this thing together type thing. It feels like 5 seconds. It may be 5 minutes, but it feels like 5 seconds. So you gotta rewind it and hear it backwards, and then play it forward, and then, okay, right there. Gotta cut this, but you gotta know exactly how long this strip is.
You're cutting it with the razor blade.
With the razor blade.
And you're taping it together.
It back together. So you gotta be precise. And we used to do this thing called the podium. We still do the podium, but it used to be done on a reel-to-reel.
Okay.
So you get this hour-long produced show on this reel, and you load it, and everything's going good. Now, they've got cuts on this also. So some tapes could have 1 million cuts on them.
Holy. How do you know where they are?
But you could hear it. From 1. And 2 is you could see the tape.
Okay.
And so
just like blue and green and orange and
sometimes it's just whatever tape you can find.
If it's not color coded, I can't do it.
No, it's not color coded. Yeah. So it'll be playing, and so at this point now you got some time. You're thinking, great, the podium's playing. I got a whole freaking hour to do nothing.
Sure.
So I could actually go out and have my smoke break.
Okay.
Or I could go to the bathroom now.
Yeah.
I could get a drink. Whatever. Sure enough, as you leave and you turn around to come back in, the tape has broke and it's just flipping, and you got nothing on the air. Nothing.
Is this on? Is this on?
And so now you run back in there, you slap this thing together, you tape it together, reset it, start playing the darn thing. And the whole while, the boss, who just so happens to be coming home from a party, calls and says, "What happened?" "I don't know. Thing broke. Couldn't find the tape. I don't know, man." It got all wrapped up in it.
I'm dying here, man. I don't know.
So it was always a challenge when radio started. But now with computers and the internet and the things that we have now, it's a lot easier to sit back there. But it's also a lot easier to get yourself complacent and bored.
I agree.
Because you can do things now because you got all your songs lined up. You got everything on a computer. Program's got everything lined up for you. You just got to push play and hope that thing continues to play because you don't have really a backup anything.
It scares me coming from. I feel like politest way possible. I went from AAA to minors. I never thought that I got to be a professional player, and I'm okay with it.
Why don't you think you're a professional player? You're on a professional station.
I agree. However, I thought like I was the stepbrother, of the family, and that's one of the reasons why. Another reasons why I started the show, because I felt that there's so much more content, so much more that I could do with the show. It's not an agenda, it's a platform. And I would love to expand that platform. When I took over the show, it was all metal, and then I went from metal, and then it was all 100% metal, and then I went, 90-10, and then 80-20, and then 70-30, and opened it up to other people because there's just so much culture here, and it wasn't going the direction that I wanted it to go, and I said, thank you, but no thank you. I've done this venture long enough to where I feel I'm comfortable enough to step outside the box and say, this is my dream. What I want to do is to sit and talk to people or play bands that I feel wouldn't have got the same attention, because to me, I've been here 30 years. I still don't know every single person or every single place, and I don't want to, because it makes my life interesting and full. And it's kind of the thing that you were saying about the computer makes your life boring, because this whole template is already laid out for you, and I don't want that in my life. I don't.
Well, that's good because you don't want that. You don't want that monotony. That da 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 da.
Yeah.
That was a sense of living.
No.
Drive me crazy.
No. It's the whole thing. I have to be passionate about it, and I'm stuttering, and I'm sorry because sometimes I get very passionate. It's very hard to find the correct words, and the day that I walk into the station, because when I got to be the representative for local music at the biggest station in Springfield, the day that I look at that as a chore, that's a problem. And I had to step back and I said, how can I make myself passionate about this again? Or what is it that I'm not liking? Because I need to change this, because it's an amazing gift. Not everyone gets to be in front of a microphone, and not everyone gets to interview these people, and I should never take it for granted. I mean, it's first world problems, but on the biggest scale, ever.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's selfish for me to walk in and say, oh, I got to do this again. 3 years ago, before the show, I was wanting to be on the show. Then I got to interview bands and flip the script. And I should be just as passionate about every band that I interviewed, or every person that I talked to, just the same as if I were interviewing myself. And it just, it broke my heart to walk away from it. But I was able to develop this project, and I'm in love with it. I mean, it's crazy. I can't explain it. I really can't.
Well, it's a great project, a great idea. With my career, I've been there around 18 years, and every day there was never a moment that I walked in there and said, I wish I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I always have loved radio and stuff, but being let go due to budget cuts, quote fingers, but it happens. As long as I stayed into a radio station, a rock radio, active rock radio station, has been incredible. And the wave has been just an immensely incredible wave. But again, there's blessings in everything, and it's how you take it and how you crash. Again, it's like telling a joke. You fall flat sometimes, and you know where not to say it, and you learn to. Well, that was not politically correct in this building.
Let's change the tone, because you and I are both extremely passionate, and I don't want to hit a downward spiral.
No,
I really don't. No, because I'm like, oh, what about?
No, but it's like when you look at things, though, it's like being let go after so long. It was kind of a bummer deal, and it kind of sucked. But then again, it was awesome because now there's a new challenge, and there's something else I can do, something else I could try. There's something else, I could do things that I didn't realize I was missing with my family as much as I was missing.
And that's something I wanted to ask you.
You know what I mean? So,
no, I really
to me,
did.
It's just the way the wheel goes. It's the way the road is.
Because you were so committed and 100% into that project, and I am on the verge of being married. We're gonna have a kid soon, and I don't want to miss out on anything.
Does Mrs. know about the kids section?
Oh, she knows all. It's
good.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. Hey, we're gonna have a kid sometime. And all of a sudden the missus hears this.
There's paperwork involved and all kinds of stuff. So what I can and can't say. But no, how do you split that passion between the passion for your family and the passion for the professional realm? Because you were there night after night, pouring your heart into it, and it was amazing. But I don't know. That's the balance that I'm looking for. I don't know if there is an answer. I'm just asking.
There's never a full balance. You're always going to be sitting there and giving it your all, but you're also going to be thinking in the back of your mind, man, I'm missing a great concert with my kid. He's going to be on stage singing for a school play or whatever. Or I'm going to miss, this chance with my son or daughter or whatever. Or I'm going to miss a moment with my wife. But it also comes out to your wife supporting you just the same as you support the house and support her with her endeavors. Is you get a great wife or a great spouse, or a husband in some cases, whatever way the bat swings per se. But you get that good support behind you, and they understand it. They understand what your passion is, and so they will back you. And then, again, technology is a double-edged sword, man. It could help you, but it could also make you complacent.
Oh, God.
And the cool thing with it is that I could get an iPod, I could get an iPad, and I could get connected to my family. I could see videos. They could contact me through Skype or whatever, or messaging. So, there is ways around things, but still, when you're fully devoted to something, it helps to have a great core support.
Right.
And I personally know you and your fiance.
Yes.
I've been blessed to know both of you guys quite well.
That's awesome, man.
And so you both have great passion for both of what you both do.
Yes.
It's pretty incredible to see.
Well, thank
but
you.
It's also neat to see that you both have enough passion for each other to support each other, and you accept their love for that, and you accept it by letting them go. By, okay, I won't have her here, but I will get to take advantage of the few minutes we will have together.
What I'll say is that it took me a long time, obviously, to find the one that I want to marry, and I found out in the fact that she is so full of life and passion and has her own goals, dreams, and ambitions. I have been in relationships before where, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this, and then someone else that would be my partner at the time is like, well, what am I supposed to do now? What about, and I can't explain it. I'm blessed. I really am, in that sense that we're both passionate, we're driven, and we're both successful in our own right. Wow. Let's back up just a little bit, because I don't want the whole thing to be about your previous works, but your catalog is huge. So I want to ask, coming from a local standpoint, what is your favorite backstage story from when a band came into any station that you work for, and you're just like, wow, I can't believe this person's like letting me hang out with them, or what would you put in there? Like, you're just the highlight reel. You don't have to do the whole thing.
It would be with Lizzie Hale and Lizzie Hale's dad.
Okay.
Yeah, which I didn't know at the time, that her dad was the one that ran the back stage of the concert. Not at all did I know this. And I'm sitting backstage and I was with Dog, and she's on stage, Lizzie Hale is, and she's in a dress, a short dress, mind you. I'm short, the stage is tall. So when she's got those monitor speakers facing her,
yeah,
and she goes to do a full stretch with her foot up there and kneels down. At this point, this guy that's running the soundboard in the back for those monitors calls me over and says, "It's got a great view." So as I walk over, Lizzie Hale does this pose. This guy's looking down at the board. I so happen to look up, and all you see is an upshot of Lizzie Hale. And I'm like, man, I will be her towel. And he stops dead in his tracks, this guy does, turns and looks at me and says, I'm her dad. And I'm thinking, fuck.
You got a daughter?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that feel? How'd that
I did not feel so good. Dog, who was with me, I used the word was, W-A-S, was with me, promptly left. And I turn and look at the guy, and I'm thinking, this is just bad. 9 types of bad. I couldn't be any worse in a position in my life than this. So I just look at him and said, you know what? You have a right to hit me. Just don't break my nose. That's all I ask. And he says, that's pretty cool. He goes, I know you didn't know I was her dad. And that's how he left it. After the show, he got a hold of me, and we ended up on the bus drinking.
Good for you.
Yeah, so it was one of those moments where you're like, you know what? Keep your fat mouth shut until you know the players.
I can't trade scars with you, but I have one memory that was tainted just because there was no you, there was no Ray, there was no Dog. It was the quote-unquote biggest party of the station, and I want you to know that I felt like an ass talking to people and saying, hey, check out our station, and I have never got to publicly say that, but how is it that I was in that position at that time where you look at it from both sides of the coin? Holy shit, this is an amazing opportunity. I can talk to all these people on behalf of the station. And I look around, and it's not holy shit, it's oh fuck. Where are the people that are supposed to be here? So I do want you to know that from me to you, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see, we've got I know that you like everybody and you're lovable, but I have a section called Lincoln's Losers. I like to compare it to my neighbor Steve lets his dog shit in my yard, and I bitch at him every time his dog shits in my yard. Is there anybody that you don't have to personally call out, or maybe an idea that you're not a fan of, and say, this person is a Lincoln loser, and if I had a chance to tell him, just, this is what I would say?
No, I wouldn't say I do, because I pretty much speak my mind. You know, if I see something stupid, I'll tell you that's stupid. If I see you're about to do something stupid, I'll let you know. You're about to do something stupid. How would you know? Oh, just continue. I'll talk to you after you hurt yourself. No problem.
All right, well, let's...
you know, losers-wise, you know, people make mistakes.
Okay.
And if you learn from them, you can't be a loser from your mistake.
I agree.
You know? As Batman's daddy said in Batman, you know, Bruce, why do we fall?
To get back up.
You know, just learn to pick yourself back up.
Now, what you've seen so many shows in your tenure. What would be the best live show that you've ever seen come to Springfield?
Come to Springfield.
The best live show that you've watched and it's like, wow, these guys are exactly what I expected.
You know, it's odd to say, but it would be when Poison came back into town.
Okay.
It's been a while since they've been on stage and everything.
Was that for the New Year's Bash where he was by himself or with the whole band?
With the whole band.
Okay.
It wasn't by himself, it was with the whole band. And I don't know the year of that. But I got to interview CeCe, and he's a cool guy. But when I got to sit backstage, and I've seen him several times before, but when I got to sit back there and just watch him play was incredible because they really sounded good. They really did a great job on performing, and they gave everybody in attendance one heck of a show.
That's
now,
awesome.
To me, that's an awesome show. Now, would you say, you know, big shows, big concerts? I mean, hell, the last time Kiss came in was incredible, but Kiss has always had a big fan base.
Right.
Even though the last time they came to town, they tried to burn the town down. They caught the curtains on fire at the old armory.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, you didn't know about Kiss burning? Yeah.
How old am I, bro?
Yeah, that's true. Well, take
Tell me the story.
No, they were just in the midst of doing a concert with their pyrotechs and caught the curtains on fire.
Now,
it's as simple as that. The roof is on fire. Yes, we want water.
Well, then what's a band that you thought was going to be good but didn't meet your expectations? And I'm not saying that you throw them under the bus for like maybe overproduce.
I know what you're talking about. You know, we've always had good venues, QLZ has, because of sometimes the size of the venue too. The place where we played. Sometimes it was in the warehouse. When we had the warehouse, it was sometimes at the Illinois State Fairgrounds.
Can you tell me about a great show at the warehouse?
Man, there's so many of them.
We got time.
I can't really point out one because of the fact that they all were good and they all were memorable. And I think, you know, a very special one to me was even when Jackal came into town.
Okay.
And we did this Redneck Fest.
Okay.
With them. And we did it at the lake where we lit up the lake, physically, literally. That was a whole mess. But we were there and we did this concert with Jackal. Now we set up the stage and we had, you know, car bench seats there. We had a washing machine full of ice and beer on the stage and hay bales and just the whole shebang. But we didn't have a band for them to open up with.
Okay.
And so we thought we needed a band to open up. We can't just say, here's Jackal, here's your whole show right here, and here's the whole fest. The fest is over, now go home an hour later, whatever. We couldn't do that. So what we did is, Mr. Raymond got the vocal part.
Yes.
Johnny G was a sales rep. He started playing drums. I think it was another sales rep that started playing guitar. We had another, or bass, and then... No, it was Tony Terrell from Ray's band, an old friend of Ray's, played bass. And, different people like that, we just threw it together. We called it the Bo Fudd Band. Now, I got on stage, and we all put on fake beards and just the whole shebang.
How long did you figure out you were going to do this? Like half hour before, day before?
I figured out we were going to do this probably a couple weeks before they came in.
Okay.
Because, we did this because of the fact that we wanted to make this fest fun. Yeah. But we wanted it to last longer than just a normal, hey, Jackal concert.
Okay.
You know, which is a good entertaining show in itself. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not. Yeah. It doesn't need a support of its own. I mean, this guy is very talented. But we just thought it would be fun to have an opening band. And then we started throwing out stupid ideas about doing a band because we knew a lot of the people in the radio station, even on the sales side, can play instruments. Yeah. So we thought, hey, this will be great. do this local instrument type band. And we decided to call it Bo Fudd.
Right.
Great name for a redneck fast band. And so then we got to talking about me going on stage, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do, but I can sit there and drink beer like a professional.
Yes.
Sure. And scratch myself every once in a while. And they're like, no. But you can't go on there with a guitar. And I'm like, I'll throw everybody off.
Right, yeah.
Because I can't play a lick. I couldn't even play a note, let alone a chord.
Just bow, bow.
I couldn't even do that. I would screw up this band so bad it wouldn't even be funny. So they just gave me a guitar and not even plugged it in.
There you go.
And just said, act
like what kind of guitar was it?
It was a 6-string, but the best part is, it's upside down. I'm left-handed. They give me a right-handed guitar.
Was it a Les Paul? Was it a Strat?
It was a Gibson.
Was it really?
Yep,
a Gibson. So you don't even know how to play, and you're playing like a $1,500 guitar.
Yeah.
That really? It's like that?
Todd from the rock shop would have probably beaten me.
Oh my God!
He'd
lose his mind.
Yeah.
He really would.
Yeah, it was bad. But it was funny in the same sense because I enjoyed it. And, the people enjoyed it. Ray and everybody, the Bo Fudd band enjoyed it. But I can honestly say that I had a band that opened up for Jacqueline.
There you go.
I can honestly put that down into the category of the repertoire of Bodine.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
No, absolutely. So with the different venues, because if
you ask me the best venue,
yes.
Now I could do that. It's hard to recall all the bands I've seen.
Sure.
I've seen so many of them.
Yeah.
And even outside of town.
Right.
I mean, we went to St. Louis, Chicago, and different areas to see bands. So the best venue, I think, for hearing a band was at the Warehouse.
And I really was going to ask if you could elaborate on that because I feel it was huge for the city. There's always a box that people get put inside, no matter if it's a church, no matter if it's a rec center, no matter whether it's a gym.
Or your wife.
Touche, my friend, touche. So that was an awesome place for people to go. And I don't know the entire story. I'm not asking you to. You don't have to be the representative of the Warehouse. But it was sad because there were so many national acts that came through there, and it was positive. I mean, you're going to have, the 3 people that ruin it for everybody, but the numbers were so good of people going and saying, I'm proud of our town because we have this venue that we can get national acts to and we can go. And it's disappointing, and I hate to say this, but whatever, it is what it is. It's disappointing to see large acts go to large venues and not sell out, and then they feel like they're less of an artist and they won't come back. I mean, we don't have right now. They're doing great things at Boondocks, and we're not sponsored by Boondocks or the Capitol Convention Center or anything. I just feel we needed that venue at that time, and I'm glad that Boondocks is doing along the same things. Because you can't say you're going to bring a national act to Springfield and guarantee they're going to sell out because it's not everybody's Kool-Aid. Not everybody wants to listen to it.
Springfield's a very fickle town when it comes to concerts.
Yeah.
Very fickle. I mean, you can bring this band in and it sells out and they're awesome. And then, maybe 6 months down the road, they're going to be coming by and they want to do it again. And all of a sudden, nobody hardly shows up. And you're like, what the hell just happened?
That's when it goes from having a major act play on a Friday or a Saturday to where we get one of their off tour dates. Like we could be hanging out on a Tuesday, or we could play Springfield and make X amount of dollars. And it sucks, but that's what we are right now. We're the Tuesday act. We're the Wednesday act. I would love to see it, thrive again, but I don't know magic. I really don't. I'm trying with the little bit of ambition and the goals that I have to make exposure, to help exposure and awareness. So I can't do everything. I'm just going to keep in this little box that I can control. How's that sound?
Sounds good. And hopefully everybody out there in podcast
land
can help.
We're doing really well. We've got 2 sponsors that are amazing, milest-shirts.com, and right now he's doing stuff that's next level, sublimation. So he can take anything that's plastic and he can put your logo on it. Like he just printed.
Sweet.
He just printed out records for people this month. If you've got anything that you want for your business, even coffee mugs, like it says "World's Best Boss." Why don't you just put world's best me? Put whatever you want on there. He can do them for you. And then we've got Laces Footwear, which is an amazing local boutique, and they're offering stuff that you would see at a shoe store in like New York, Chicago, and it's here in Springfield, and it's a local guy. If you're going to wear those clothes, you might as well buy from a local guy anyway. I mean, it's going to help our economy, at the end of the day. Between now and Christmas, mention Lincoln's Legends Podcast at Laces Footwear and receive an additional 20% off all inventory. I feel that I know that you were a part of radio in Springfield. I hate to lean on one station because I don't want to keep plugging it, but you saw what worked and what got people involved. And right now, I think it's a scary time for anyone that's in just strictly radio, because we have access to everything. I mean, everything's 140 characters. Everything is, you can listen to it at your own leisure, rather than I've got to tune into the show at this time and I've got to be a part of their schedule. Now, how did you do it at that time? I mean, because it was a juggernaut.
It's a challenge, and it's still a challenge today. But it comes down to you willing to throw a joke out there that'll either poke fun of your life, your family, or poke fun at yourself. You got to be willing to take the shot, and whether it's going to be a positive or negative, and you take what's happening and you think outside the box. You don't keep yourself in the box, you keep yourself outside of it.
Right.
Because, this dude may be turning in and he wants to hear this new song, but as soon as he gets home in 5 minutes, he's going to pull it up on the internet.
Right.
He's going to pull it up on iTunes radio. He's going to pull it up on satellite radio. So how do you compete with that? You give them entertainment. You give them stupid jokes. You give them stupid sayings. You catch them off guard. If you catch somebody off guard, you got their attention. If you got their attention, don't let it go and keep it riding.
Absolutely.
As long as you can.
Now,
but, and it's not easy. It's just constantly trying. It's constantly throwing a joke. Again, it's like I said earlier. You throw it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if you made the person stop their entire day to pick up a phone, whether to tell you that was damn funny, or Bodine, you're the biggest retard I've ever met in my entire life, and I'd love to punch you in the face over that one.
You know what's amazing, though, is they're going to listen tomorrow. They're going to listen tomorrow because they're like, well, what? I wonder if he's going to do the exact same thing or something else.
Or if he's going to talk about me. What's he going to say about me this time? Or is he going to play what I just yelled at him about? So,
Was there ever a writing process, or was it all improv? Was there ever say, hey, I want to work on this bit, this is something I want to work out, I want to critique it? I mean, did you ever sit down at the station and say, hey, I'm part of this show or part of that show when you were an intern or when you had your own show, and say, I'd like to pitch some ideas? Did you ever have a writing partner?
We've always pitched shows, especially ideas at Mr. Raymond. And any idea. It didn't matter what type of idea it is or anything crazy like that. It was an idea.
Yeah.
So we pitched a bunch of stupid ideas, and sometimes I was a little cautious on the ideas, because usually if it's a stupid stunt, more likely my name's going to be in it. I'm going to be Bennett, and I'm going to be in it, whether I wish to be or not to be. So, but you throw it out there. Later on, when I started doing my own show, I wasn't so much. I didn't have the luxury of doing bits, per se, but sometimes I would be sitting at home at night and laying in bed and think of something funny, or be mowing the lawn or cleaning the bathroom, scrubbing the toilet, or something, and something will pop in my head that's funny. And then, I will then write it down to remember it, or maybe tweak it a little bit so it'll sound, or it'll lead into a song or a news story even that I've heard that I'd like to talk about. And so as far as that goes, that's the only writing I've ever done. And a lot of times it's me. That's just what you get.
Awesome.
And by the way, I'm the same as I am on the air as I'm on
the air.
Absolutely.
I can account for that. No, absolutely. I wanted to go back, since we're talking about material and how you didn't have access to the internet. It blows my mind that the content was that amazing because it was all you, and that's fucking awesome. I mean, there's a lot of resources right now where you can go and read jokes, and I'm not saying they're written verbatim, but there's so much more content that you can expose yourself to, and then you can regurgitate that, and it's all just loaded into You know what? Case in point. There's a show that I listen to on occasion in the morning, and I don't know why I subject myself to it anymore, because all the news is from yesterday. And I'm so spoiled that I'm in this 24-hour news cycle where I'm like, I read this and I read that, and why are they talking about this? They should be talking about the thing that just happened 5 minutes ago. But how did you find, I mean, other than the newspaper, like, what were your main resources when you didn't have internet to throw up stories on the front page?
Well, it was just, the newspaper was big, so you get several different types. Chicago,
You get the
St.
Tribune,
Louis,
you get the Dispatch. Okay.
You get, SJR and stuff like that.
Is this station like given to you, or you got to go out and buy this stuff yourself?
We get supplied with the SJR at least.
Okay.
The other stuff usually we went out and got, or somebody just brought in some stuff.
Right.
And they, like the news guys,
Yeah.
I'd rob their newsroom. Because they can get all those newspapers, but they'd also have a news feed though.
Okay.
They would get the Newswire, AP Newswire,
Okay.
or whatever. And that was always feeding into it. That's how the world spread the news around. Before it was the internet. It was the Newswire.
Well, because I'm thinking
And
in my
so
head.
it was always
Sorry.
printing off.
Well, in my head, I'm thinking that I can hit go, and it's going to look up SJR, Post Dispatch, everything that's in the 100, 200 mile radius here. But someone was going out and buying 8 of these papers, and say one person uses it for their show and they love it and it's gold. They're not going to give that newspaper to you. So you could have spent $30, $50 on newspapers just to get.
Yeah, but it's also everybody shared it because, it could be picked apart. It's like also now, even when I was doing my shift in the evening, by the time I would get on my shift, there was an issue with, hold on a second, the football shows up and Bears just, I think, recovered the fumble. Like a dog seeing trees in the car.
I know.
Hey, tree.
Flashing lights.
No, it's like when I was doing my shift at night, and I have access to all these news stories, but they've been already picked apart.
Right.
So now it's a challenge to find other things.
Yeah.
And what I always did to find these other things was travel off a news story. Find a news story that, the morning show may have talked about
Right.
a news story, and I'm rereading it because it piqued my interest, or I just pull it up and I start seeing it.
Yeah.
But then again, what helps is, hey, the Bears are playing. Just like now, I fade off my attention.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I realize by this side story, somebody talking about P-mates. And I'm
Okay.
like, what the F is a P-mate?
There you go.
So I start searching P-mates.
Yeah.
And then I realized, this damn thing's a piece of cardboard laying flat that you could pop open, and now it resembles a wooden shoe, wooden clog.
Oh, shit.
So it looks like it comes down to a funnel tip, the flat point, it's like they had a point, but it cut it off,
Yeah.
so it's an open hole in the front.
Yeah.
It's elongated.
Yeah.
And it's opened at the top like you would put your foot into it.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, what the F is a pee-mate? Well, it's for women to stand up and pee like a man.
What?
They pee in this thing.
Oh.
Now, if you think about it, military women would love to have something
Absolutely.
like this.
Yeah.
Because they got to drop drawers.
Yeah.
In the middle of combat, they got to drop the drawers.
Yeah.
Pee. And it's
Yeah.
going to get all over their
Yeah.
uniform. And
Yeah.
it's a mess.
Sure.
So if they can stand and pee in this thing,
Sure.
and it funnels out like a man in the front,
It's like an astronaut.
Yeah, just perfectly like it. So I'm just thinking to myself, now I start searching them. Then all of a sudden I realize I have a story that nobody has talked about.
That's awesome.
So now I'll talk about it. But before I talk about it, I may try and get a hold of P-mates, which I did.
That's awesome.
And they sent me a bunch of these.
That's awesome.
And so now I interview the person, set it up, play the interview on the air. I turn around and, hey, caller number 9, get some P-mates.
That's awesome.
Phone lines explode. You're passing out P-mates.
So if you ever had a question about how radio content is found and you're listening to this show, it's all organic. It has to come from within.
Well, you just witnessed it. Hey, the
There you
Bears
go.
are playing.
There you
Fumble.
go.
Sorry.
That's amazing.
Hey, where am I at?
That's amazing.
Matter of fact, the radio station in my name has paid for 8 grams tax for 8 grams of marijuana in the state of Texas.
What? How's that possible?
It's possible. Illinois has the law, but they don't have the tax stamps anymore.
Okay.
The tax stamps, it's a Al Capone type law.
All right.
If I can't get you for selling it, I can get you for at least not paying taxes on it.
Okay.
So you can pay taxes on marijuana. And so,
where did this come from?
I found it here. There's a story that they were wanting to get rid of their tax stamps here in Illinois. So when I called them, they already got rid of all of them. So I got a hold of Texas, was the other state that was doing it.
Yeah.
I talked to them, and they said, yeah, we still do it. It costs this much per gram, and we'll send you the paperwork. Okay. Sent me the paperwork. I get the paperwork. And by the way, this is snail mail.
Yeah.
So I get the paperwork.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I go to our boss lady, says, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to give some of these away. They're like, well, that's a cool idea. Go talk to,
sure,
this next person that pays the bills. And so we go up there, and she writes me a check. And I send it in with my name on the paperwork. They send me 8 tax stamps. So therefore, we paid for 8 grams tax for 8 grams of marijuana in the state of Texas.
That is amazing.
And I gave out those stamps on the air.
That is amazing.
All
right, let's do, we got one more segment, and then we're going to wrap it up. It's, if you were mayor for a day, you got 24 hours to do whatever you want with Springfield, what would you do to make it good, worse, better, go?
If I was mayor for Springfield, first of all, I would do a control count. All right? Your supplies. All your supplies, pens, papers.
Yes.
What you're running through, your fax machines, your copiers, all that. I'd put a lid on all of that.
Okay.
Be done with that because you know what? You're wasting a lot of money. These people are taking it home to feed their kids to go to school.
Yeah.
Heck with that. That's costing me money.
I agree.
2-ply toilet paper. You could get away with 1 ply.
Oh, like Charmin. I don't know. I need the double stuffed Charmin.
No, man. Sorry, you're at work. At work, it's a different
I'll bring my own.
There you go. See?
I'll bring my
now
own.
You just saved how much money? You're bringing your own toilet paper.
I'm sorry.
To the city of Springfield.
I'll bring my own.
You know what I mean? But policy-wise, I would look at some laws that I disagree with, like smoking in a bar.
Yeah.
I don't see why we can't smoke in a bar. You said, well, what about the non-smokers or kids? What the hell is a kid doing in a bar?
In the politest way possible and non-racial, you could segregate from smokers and non-smokers, and I believe that it could be effective.
But you also know it's a bar.
Absolutely.
What's bars designed for?
Yes, I agree.
Smoking, drinking, and jacking around.
I agree.
Carousing, causing trouble.
Absolutely, getting rowdy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the idea of the bar. And if you want to go into a bar and not smoke, well, then they'll go in the bar. I'm sure there's some bars out there where you can find a bunch of non-smokers because they start their own damn bar.
They would. It's the whole business owner should be able to decide what happens in their establishment.
It's their establishment.
Except like dog fighting and stuff like that.
That's
kind of sketchy.
You definitely don't want that. But the other thing I would cut down is the amount of people that we have, the redundancy on jobs inside the government itself. Why do I need an aide? Aren't you supposed to be the damn mayor? Get your own damn telephone. What the hell do we need an aide for?
It breaks my heart to see downtown businesses closed. And I was downtown passing out flyers for the show last week, and there's this prime location. I don't know. Hopefully somebody from the show can let me know if it's being renovated or if it's being sold. On the window, it says Aaron Shock. I've never seen anybody in there before, ever. So if it's being sold or renovated, please let us know. I'd love to know, what's happening with it so we can get people in there, and put something that would, actually generate business in that corner of Springfield.
Would be nice.
It really would.
But, businesses are hard to put in downtown anymore because of the atmosphere. You got these superstores everywhere. You can
agree.
put them outside. I don't understand it. I think that you need to put a movie theater downtown.
That would be amazing.
I think you need to make downtown more entertainment friendly for the. We got hotels down there. What the hell do they got to do, especially with their kids in downtown Springfield?
No, I agree.
Watch the drunks fall around.
Yeah,
in the alley,
I spent a lot of time at a business downtown. And when people drive into Springfield and they stay at these downtown hotels, there is not a thing for them to do on a Sunday when people are getting in it. There's not a thing for people to do in the winter after 3 o'clock. Now, they have renovated a lot of the stuff, and I've been down there personally recently a lot, and they're getting better. But no, it would be amazing to have at least a movie theater downtown to where it would generate business. And, it's the whole... You start small
bowling
idea.
alley. Put
Oh,
something
absolutely.
down there.
Oh, sure.
Get something down there that people can access easily.
No, we're a
You
capital
know?
city, but we have nothing on that strip
Yeah.
other than
I
people
mean,
falling
hell,
around
even
drinking.
The people on the bus that take buses for a living.
Yeah.
And by the way, I do take a bus because it's cheap.
Absolutely.
And by the way, it's great transportation. Springfield has a really good bus system, and people don't understand it. And some people look at me like, "Oh, he's taking a bus." Yeah, I'm taking a bus. How many people do you see in New York take a bus? How many people do you see in Chicago take a bus?
Everybody. Absolutely.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So you can't drive a freaking car in the city easily.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
No, see, we take buses. And so the bus system here is excellent.
Is it every half hour?
It depends on what route it is. Like at night, it'll run every hour, a little over an hour. You know, it'll be at the stop.
Yeah.
And then during the day, some of them are half-hour stops, so they'll be there every half hour.
That's awesome.
So why don't you put a dry cleaner down there? Why don't you put a Dollar General or something down there? And these people, they take this bus downtown to a transfer.
Yeah.
You have no instant spot for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You have to walk 5-6 blocks away
Yeah.
from where you're at and sit in a restaurant and wait another 20 minutes for
Right.
somebody to serve you a cup of coffee.
Right.
Why don't you put a quick coffee stop downtown? Something. Because there's so much you could do. That's, you know, if I was a mayor, that's one thing I would push.
That's awesome.
More of these businesses downtown and utilize your downtown.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we sell out Lincoln. We sell out all
Yeah.
these stupid
No,
features.
I
And
agree.
we say that, hey, we're the small,
I
big
agree.
city.
I agree.
You know, we're a big city, but,
But
we're
what's
a
the
small
draw?
town feel.
Because you get in
got a
downtown and you
downtown
have to
perfect for
drive
that.
a half hour. Well, excuse me. You get downtown to the heart of Springfield, and then you have to drive 12 blocks to 12 blocks to a monument. Then you drive another 20 minutes to this and 20 minutes to that. I mean, there's a large circle on the outskirts of Springfield that has everything that you can go to. So I definitely understand your view.
And you know, there is the public library is awesome downtown. You got, you know, Abraham Lincoln's home.
Yeah.
But if you walk down there again, where do you go to get a quick cup of Joe, a quick bite or a quick snack?
You know what? They're
You
getting
don't
better.
have
They've
nothing to
they've
access
got
it
Head
quick.
West. They've got Jimmy
Yeah,
John's.
And I'm not knocking
They're-
those, and I like those. But what I'm saying is, it's like in the city of Chicago and
Yeah.
New York and in St. Louis, you could walk up to a little. They have cart vendors, but they also have little shops. I mean, they're small little shops. You can walk up and give them $1, and you get a small cup of Joe while you're standing outside walking in between these places.
You know what is weird is
They don't
they
have
have when there's a drinking season in Springfield, and when the drinking is at its height downtown, they have vendors that they'll sell Sanchos, they'll sell hot
They're not a
dogs or
constant
brats.
thing.
But it would be an awesome idea to have something available, like you're saying. You know, you're in the middle of your day, you're commuting, you know, and you shouldn't be punished because you're commuting, and you probably feel that way a little bit, you know.
Yeah, well, they got like that little coffee shop over there on Jefferson. It used to be right near the old Mavericks.
Yes.
And it's just a little coffee hut.
Yeah.
If you put something a little bit smaller than that downtown,
Yeah.
for somebody that's walking
Yeah.
near the library or near from the bus station, they're going to catch the bus downtown. Somewhere you could just walk up,
'cause
drop
even,
$1, and grab a cup of coffee while you're standing out
even
there.
William Vans is too far to walk.
Yeah.
From the
But you
fourth
need one
hub.
downtown.
Yeah, no, I
You know,
agree.
Even the politicians, you know, the politicians walk
Yeah.
downtown everywhere,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Right.
I ran into Obama downtown that way.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. And so he walked everywhere.
That's
and a
awesome.
lot of other politicians, when they stay, some of them will stay in these hotels and walk to the Capitol building, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Right.
Would be nice if they could just, on their way over there, cold day or even a hot day, you want something to drink,
Yeah.
that you can walk by this window, grab a quick jowl,
Yeah.
quick drink, drop
Yeah.
a couple bucks, and keep walking.
That's awesome, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Something like that, that'll draw people in. That'll make people want to be downtown.
I
Walk
agree.
around,
I agree.
Move.
Well,
That's what the city needs.
I agree.
The city needs to loosen up on a lot of things.
Mr. Bodine, this is my Christmas present, and I really hope that it's a Christmas present for the listeners. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, man.
Thank you.
All right.
No problem,
This
man.
hopefully this will be the first of a few because I know that you've got a lot more to talk about.
Always have something.
I know you
Come
do.
on now.
So, all right, we're gonna end it there.
Lincoln Legend Podcast. Yeah, we suck, but not as much as they do.